there used to be an October 15th, midnight madness start to the basketball season. I grew up with it, and that's the way it's been for a long time. And it's just really different now, and it's way better now, because as we have our first really press conference to start the official first day of practice, we've been going all summer, we've been going all fall, and the NCAA really made a nice job making adjustments in the rules, allowing us to work with our student athletes in the off season. And yeah, the number of hours we get on the court is not the same in season as it is preseason. That's fine. Part of that was a reaction to European basketball absolutely beginning to, and they still have, but makes huge impact in the NBA and the guys getting drafted, because our college players were not able to be trained like pros, like they were able to train them overseas. And you want to be a great chemist, if you want to be a great scientist, if you want to be a great doctor, if you want to be a great attorney, if you want to be a great musician, if you want to be a great basketball player, these guys know one thing and one thing only, and that's work. Hard work. That's all they know. And so to have at one point actually legislated against the ability to work hard, as, again, student athletes, you can do both. You can be a full-time student, and you can train to be the best possible basketball player that you can be. So as a result, this first day of practice just does not feel like the first day of practice. All right, that said, I would say going into this first day of practice, I know less about this team than many of the teams that I've coached. And I've only brought in, let's say, 2 freshmen and really 3 transfers. The combination of NIL and transfer portal in the Power 5 conferences, you're looking at almost 4 to 5 guys transferring per year per team. It's over 4. We've averaged 2 over the last 5 years or so. Part of it is because our guys love Auburn, and our fans have done such a great job loving them. And they want to get their degrees, and they want to stay. And that's a real advantage for us. But I have several guys that are returning. They're going to be playing different positions. For example, Denver Jones is going to play 1 and 2. He didn't play any point guard last year, with the exception of about a week and a half when Aiden was out, with maybe 2 weeks when Aiden was out with a foot injury or an ankle sprain. Janai Broom is going to play 4 and 5. He played 12 minutes of 4 last year when Jalen Williams was hurt, and we played him that way at Georgia. Tahad Pettifor was a guy that was absolutely going to come in, and I was only going to play him off the ball. And through his own personal development, he looks like he can also play point and handle the load of learning 3 positions, because the 2 and the 3 are identical positions. One is just on one side of the floor, the other is on the other side of the floor. And the enormous responsibility of the one, where you need to know every position. And he's demonstrated to me that he can handle a couple rotations at point guard. So you give some of those dynamics along with bringing in 5 new guys, and it's I'm going to learn a lot more about my team the next 3 or 4 weeks.
First question from Adam and Jason.
Bruce, there's been a lot of talk about just the schedule and how daunting it is, and in particular that non-conference slate. Was there maybe a moment where you felt like you guys really needed to build out that non-conference slate the way you did this year? And I guess if so, just when did that realization kind of hit or click for you?
I think there were two things that happened. Last year, when we put USC, Notre Dame, Indiana on the schedule, we did so following great years by all three of those programs and anticipated their being great again. It just weren't. And so if it wasn't for our record, the margins of our victory and some of the analytics, we weren't going to have enough quad one wins to really be better than a 5 seed. That was one factor, just a recognition of the importance of that non-conference schedule. I think the second and probably the more impactful reason as to why we scheduled this way is if we've been ranked in the top 10 at one point 6 out of the last 7 years, at one point, whether we are or whether we aren't, we're trying to act like we're one. And one of the ways you can act like one is to try to schedule there. So I don't know if we can recruit like a top 10 program. I don't know if we can finish like a top 10 program. But I can schedule like one because I can control that. And so that's what we've done. Third factor is probably because we're a veteran team, and I just want to give these guys that opportunity. I want to give these guys that chance, and I want to give our fans the opportunity to go down there and go to Houston and support us against Houston, knowing that there are going to be 1 or 2, 3 in the country on the road. We continue to try to bring in great teams to the Atlanta and that Hoopsgiving. My goodness gracious, to play Indiana and have Indiana bring 8,000-9,000 people to that venue, so on and so forth, and now to get Ohio State. The fact that Matt Painter and Purdue feel enough about our program that they could bring us back to Indianapolis in a year from now and actually think that the game would be a big game for them or for television. Well, we know that Purdue's a big game for us. It's either is or almost sold out already in Birmingham. So we're just trying to act like we belong.
Bruce, you talked about Tahad, Denver, bringing in J.P. Pegues. How valuable is that depth at point guard, and then how much does that competition help you guys when you have 3 players that are kind of pushing in that role?
Well, I think it definitely helps as far as the depth is concerned. You catch. We're going to play 2 point guards. We've always played 2 point guards. And if you don't have that third guy in the rotation and one of those guys gets hurt, what do you do? And so, it definitely helps as far as our depth is concerned. And I think as far as the competition, those guys are also competitive that I don't necessarily think that it's helping them all show up every day to practice because those 3 guys already show up. Those 3 guys are going to show up every day.
Bruce, adding Miles onto this team, just having 3 guys off the ball or 3 proven guys off the ball that are scorers, just what does that do for this team? Adding him what you have with Denver and Chad coming back, just adding another guy that's done it at this level or just at the power conference level.
Well, I think that obviously Miles, he was arguably Georgia Tech's best player last year, played a ton of minutes, and grew and developed in that program. Coach Stottlemyre did a great job bringing him along. And having to play him 32-plus minutes, and now he's going to come here, and the way we play, playing 10 guys double-digit minutes, he won't play 32 minutes every night. So therefore, he's going to be able to play and affect the game in more ways. He'll be affect the game with his length defensively. He's going to be, and he's really improved in that area. He's going to affect the game, hopefully by getting downhill and scoring more at the rim. He obviously is demonstrated to be a great 3-point shooter with great range, and so so much of how much better we are with those guys out there, I probably won't know till Florida Atlantic on November 1st, Furman at Furman on October. I think October like 27th. It's a Sunday there, something like that. We'll know a lot more right then.
Versus Janai at the 4. I mean, I guess just what have you kind of seen? Like you said, obviously you guys are getting ready to do practice for real. But do you imagine him potentially starting at that, or is it kind of a thing going back and forth?
It's a potential for Janai to start at the 4, and that depends on Dylan Cardwell and Cheney Johnson, and Jaheim Hudson and Chris Moore. It would be safe to say right now that based on what I've seen this summer and this fall, that Janai will start at 4 or 5. I think I've seen enough, in addition to what he's already done. I think I've seen enough that Janai definitely would be, I would say, of all of our players, putting himself in that position. Now, whether or not Dylan starts at 5 and Janai starts at 4, or Cheney starts at 4 and Janai starts at 5, that's all going to be taking place this month. And it could change during the course of the year too, because of matchups and things like that. They're all going to play. They know they're all going to play.
All right, BMAT, and then Bill, and then Hope will be the last one.
Bruce, have you seen a jump from any of your returning players in the offseason that have stood out to you?
Yeah, I think that Janai has, he's in great shape, and he's practiced with a really good consistency. We asked that of him as a leader, to bring it, play at practice at a better clip, and continue to compete and lead. And I think he's done that. Dylan's always been somebody that's been in the gym and is a natural gym rat, and Cheney Johnson's one of our absolute hardest workers, and Cheney had a great fall. Like Cheney's teams won a lot, and I think you'll see the improvement from last year to this year. Chris Moore had a good fall, and was really productive. I think both Chris and Cheney being productive. Chad Baker continues to show you at times greatness. And so Denver had a really good fall. When I say that, the difference between fall and summer, getting comfortable with the position, you can't sleep on Denver. He's getting downhill scoring. He has been our most consistent defensive guard from a standpoint of pretty much bringing it every day. So I mean, I think they've all improved from truly from the summer. Because when I say summer, we were here in June and July. They got 3 weeks in August off, and then we came back. And even all the new guys, all the returning, the kids that were here this summer, Miles and JP, Tahad, and Chakai, and Yaheem, all got better.
All right, Bill, and then Hope for the last one.
The fact that you play as many players significant minutes, talk about how you deal with that in recruiting. I can see both sides where obviously there are going to be some minutes available when you're going out and recruiting, but there's some guys obviously that want more minutes.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things about recruiting that's really, really important. I think one thing about like student athletes, they still want to be coached, they still want to be pushed, they want to be held accountable. They don't want to be lied to. They don't want to be lied to. And so I think in recruiting, if you're honest with them, and you tell them it's not going to be easy, how hard it's going to be great and do the things that they say they want to do, so on and so forth. But they also understand that if they come to Auburn, I use Jabari Smith as a great example. Jabari averaged 28 minutes a game. He was the best player on the floor almost every single night, if not every single night. Maybe a couple of the big games he might have played over 30, but basically he averaged 28 minutes a game. We believe in that. So you're not going to have to take possessions off. You're going to be able to affect the game at both ends. You're going to play hard. My job is to. A lot of coaches don't think that you have to coach effort, and you shouldn't have to. But I think you do. And so we're gonna play hard. And if you're not gonna play hard, then you're not gonna play. And playing a few fewer minutes really helps.
BP, I was going to ask you defensively, how have the new guys adjusted to your expectations on playing defense?
Yeah, I tell you, the one thing that I would say is, like, practices are difficult. Like, we're hard to score on in practice. And we are. We've got great size at the rim. We've got great athleticism. It's tough to finish around the rim against us. We've got to continue to work on defending without fouling. We've got to continue to be physical without fouling. Fouling are errors. And we're trying to do that. And so one of the reasons why I can't get a gauge on where we are is we're having a hard time scoring with a good percentage against ourselves. Now, does that mean we're way behind offensively and we're not ready for prime time? Or does that mean we're really good defensively? I can't tell you yet until we play some other people. The biggest difference between, like especially is the new guys. Returning guys have got a real advantage because of the way we guard. They know how we guard, and we can shell it and we can drill it. The other guys are getting caught up.